Also with business law. So, if you're running a business, wish you were, all the rest. Faithful listeners know that I've been working with the employee retention credit. This is a thingy, COVID era thing, where they said, hey, if you kept your employees going, kept your employees on during the COVID, and you had to get into a different business, or your business got, socked in the mouth, or, less revenue, stuff like this, there's tests, right? If you did that, if you kept faith with your team members, with your employees, then we're going to give you a break. We're going to give you a credit on your employment taxes. So, believe it or not, when you hire somebody, the government taxes you hiring somebody. There's FUTA and FICA and all the rest of this stuff. Anyway, the point is, there are employment taxes, right? You're taxed on hiring somebody. So if you think, oh, the big boss, whatever, okay, understand that the big boss is paying a tax to hire you. Way it is. Okay. So during the COVID, they said, well, we don't want people laying off people, because if they lay off all these people, then we're going to have to do unemployment insurance for them, right? And the federal government eventually pays for all that. So wouldn't it be cheaper if we could encourage people to keep the other people employed, the employers to keep the employees employed? And one of the ways they did this, they did the loans that they forgave, and emergency loans from the Small Business Administration. They did that, but they also they did a credit on your taxes, credit on your employment taxes. Well, most people didn't learn about the credit on the employment taxes, and you have years to file your taxes or amend your taxes after you filed them. Okay. So the government said, hey, COVID's over. Not if you listen to some people, but yeah, let's face it, it's over. It's like the flu now, I guess. Anyway, the point is that it turned out that a lot more employers kept their people employed than they had counted on, right? So we're entitled to this tax credit, a credit against their employment taxes, a refundable credit. They even got money. Oh my goodness. We have to give them back the taxes they paid plus money on top of it. Holy cow. And because people didn't know that, there was a lot of advertising that said, hey, guess what? Get your money. Here's how you do it. All right. Now, I've been involved with not that part of it, but the uh, technical side of it, right? Making sure that the tax returns get filed properly and all the rest. Well, government didn't like that, so IRS didn't like that. So they kept changing the rules on us. They kept tightening it up and calling everybody fraudsters, which wasn't true. But anyway, that not everybody, because every time they said, "Oh, it's terrible fraud," they would also say, "Oh, but it's most of them are legitimate." They would admit that. Anyway, there is a bill winding its way through the United States Congress right now. So normally you would have until April 15th to claim this credit. Businesses would. And it's taken people a while to wake up to the fact that they spent their retirement savings, they spent their maintenance budgets, they spent their growth money, they spent their capital keeping people employed during the COVID. And now things are falling apart, business is not growing, all the rest, because they put that money into the employees. I can personally testify that that is what happened in my practice. But with the ERC money, right? Now you have a chance to get some of that back, to reestablish your various funds and whatever to keep the business alive. Because I don't know if you've noticed it, but inflation's nutty, the economy is nutty, real estate is nutty. There's a lot of nutty stuff going on, and getting back a few bucks that you paid in, right, can really help out. Okay. So what did Congress do? They said, well, we're paying a lot of money, not to the huge corporations. You have to be a small business, right? You couldn't have more than 100 employees. And most people don't have like 20 employees, 10 employees, 5 employees, or some most, the vast majority of cases that we're seeing, they're They're well under 100. Every once in a while, like we had a camp that had 150 employees. Yeah, but they're all part-time. Okay, well, part-time employees are cool. No problem. So that one was no, like I said, was no problem, even though, 150 employees, that's a big business. No, because it's a camp. And then the second year, you could have 500 employees. Really, holy cow. But still, if you've got a medical practice, a surgical practice, what have you, you can very easily get to that number of people, or a manufacturing company or something. That's what we've seen. So now the question is, government says, oh, yeah, we got all these people and we've tried to discourage them in all kinds of ways by calling them, fraudsters, and we've really smeared them to the extent we can. And yet people are still, legitimate businesses are still claiming this thing. So what they said, this was about a week ago. Now, like, I forget exactly when, January 20th or something. They said, hey, guess what? It's all over on January 31st. I know you thought you had to April 15th. Nah. If you don't file by January 31st, if you don't file by Wednesday at midnight, you're screwed. You're not getting nothing. Oh, that's fair, ain't it? You're government at work, and you say, well, they're protecting us or what have you. It's just a bunch of, and look, the IRS sent out 20,000. You saw the headline, right? They made headlines. 20,000. Get this, 20,000 audit letters. Ooh, that sounds like a lot. Yeah, out of a million, and it's more than a million. It's a few million of these things. Ooh, they sent out 20,000, and you know who they sent the letters to? Businesses that didn't exist. So you do have some bad people, fraudsters, terrible people, right? And out of the millions of filings, they got 20,000. And it's like, oh, this is terrible. Listen, I understand the remorse of having made this available to small businesses. I also notice that the defense contractors are doing just fine, which God bless them. We need more aircraft carriers and modern weapons and stuff. We got crazy people like Russia, and look around the globe. Okay, there's crazy people out there who want to kill Americans, so we need to kill them first, or at least kill them back, one or the other. Okay, so yeah, fine. I understand. We need these weapons, and we need to forgive all these billions and tens of billions in student loans, and we need to do all the rest of this stuff. Okay, fine, right? But those are big companies that have been getting the money, and they've been getting the money right along anyway. And this, during the COVID, it was like, hey, maybe we should throw a bone, not much meat on the bone, but we should throw a bone to the small businesses, which they immediately regretted, right? Helping out the small businesses, and started, it was like, here's a lifeline. Oh, thank you. Oh, by the way, the lifeline has barnacles on it. They're going to tear your hands. I'm going to, and you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do the other thing. Well, you didn't say that at the first. No, we didn't say that at the first, but you're a small business. We don't really care very much about you. So we're going to make it difficult for you. And now they're saying, okay, now you have 5 days. It's like, so we are scrambling. I mean, I'm taking time out to do the show, but we're in on the weekend. We've been scrambling now for legitimate small businesses who deserve the credit because they stepped up during the COVID. But if you wonder what the government would do to you if it could get away with it, this is a good example. They'll change the rules on you. They'll make it very difficult. Because why? Because they can get away with it. That's why.